And in terms of maybe a full experience, I'd have to say that the wedding singer that we did in the start of 2010 was probably one of my favourites because it was just so much fun and the cast really bonded in a sort of way that casts often don't. It was, I have many friends from that show that I still see very frequently. So yeah, it was lots of fun.
Both The Wedding Singer and New Brain were good for different reasons. They were both in the same year, and I think Wedding Singer was just a lot of fun. Big ensemble, flying around everywhere, and definitely a big show by Empire standards, and it came together really well.
Probably a New Brain. It was clean and well done and well executed the whole way through the process.
And New Brain was a really small, tight cast, and that also came together really well. It's just sort of nice and polished.
Wedding Singer was my favourite due to the social aspect, and I loved everyone and I loved every minute of it. Curtains was my favourite professionally, based on that I actually felt I did a good job of as a director, even though it was quite hard at times.
I'd probably say Assassins. That's the one that I learnt the most from doing, and I really grew as a performer from doing it.
I'd have to say Assassins as well, because I felt like it was one of those shows where anything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah.
And we all just worked together and created this fantastic show. I'm just so proud of that show. And
Murray, come here. Murray, come here.
The problem is the things that really endure for me are audition stories, and I really shouldn't tell them.
There are so many, which I can't even put on camera.
The tequila body shots at the Divorce Me Darling after party.
Like the Into the Woods fundraiser, we had the cake facing.
Bringing Olive to rehearsals.
Every show has a secret shame that it doesn't want to share with the world.
Well, I think Do or Die as a whole was a funny story, really.
The number of times I've been in an opening night and we haven't had a tech or a dress.
just like
the possum got down dead.
fell from the sky and died in front of us.
When Zach Ross completely failed to enter on stage as he couldn't find the hole in the curtain. All that people who were sitting in the audience could see was the curtain moving manically.
The production crew and the team sitting in Northcourt after cast notes, and we sat there for about an hour and just hysterically laughed and just lost it. And it all came together in the end, sort of, but just for that hour we were just like, what do we do? Well, we laugh.
We could not get the underwear out of the skirt, and we're like, crap, I've got to get on stage, what am I going to do?
So she's like yanking, we had other people trying to yank it off, and then she just said, just rip it off.
And then I realised, and this sounds really weird, that I had 2 pairs of undies on.
She had another pair underneath, because that would have been really awkward otherwise. I don't know who goes around wearing 2 pairs of underwear, but on the very day that she needed to rip a pair of them to get, front her to make sure that we got on stage at the right time, because the world would end if we didn't, she ripped them off. And
I have to say one of my most recent favourite memories is opening night of Curtains, when the girls are frantically sewing their costumes together. Katie Poss having a small breakdown next to me. That was just, you poor thing. I think that adrenaline that we had literally putting our costumes together just before we went on stage was just like nothing.
Yeah, the kick line.
Show people kick line.
How about we let people in the friggin' line?
I remember once, I think Sean, Tabby and I had dinner beforehand at Coretto's and ordered a pizza with 4 kinds of cheese and drank a little bit of wine, and we were all sick at rehearsals, so that was just the blessed of times. And Naomi was not impressed, so but we thought it was funny. So yeah.
Aaron threatening our neighbours with a shotgun.
Aaron Moscow. Yeah.
And being arrested, spending the night in jail.
Also in cabaret, people getting slightly naked. That was quite funny. Standing in the wings, stage managing, and people just taking everything off right next to you. I won't name names, but I remember someone using a silver tray that was quite cold to do a bit of this, so it looked
perky. That was quite nice.
And
I liked when Dylan got naked in a park. That was good.
Dylan
I don't
Morgan,
remember
full
it.
stop.
Not on camera, because most of them end up with someone naked or almost dead.
Into the woods the night that the tower almost like fell over and killed everyone.
Oh, that's right, and Jane nearly died, Jane Lovelock, in her tower, and they pulled her across and they'd forgot to put the stops up.
Yeah.
So they wheeled her out to the stage and it just kept going.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That was terrifying.
Yeah, ending up at the Clyde pretty much every rehearsal was also an enduring memory.
Anything and everything that happened at the Clyde post-show or post-mumping.
But yeah, my favourite would be the scorn on the faces of all the staff at the Clyde every time we turned up after a show.
The tradition of the after party. I don't remember a lot of the first after party of the wedding singer, but I think we started a tradition of very, very messy parties, which continue to this day, I am proud to say. So that was great.
One thing that we always want the UMMTA is for it to be a place where people got to meet people. You know, probably the best thing I've heard, as opposed to, you know, us getting awards or being nominated for best show of this or whatever, was when people came up to me and said, I wouldn't have a friend on campus if I hadn't done an UMMTA show. Like, my best friends come from UMMTA, and to hear that from other people who said, you know, if I hadn't done that show in first semester, I probably wouldn't have any friends around. And to me, that's so much more important than you know, it's nice getting awards and accolades and all that kind of stuff, but that's really what it's about, I think.
And yeah, the show is often fun itself, but it tends to be the relationships and the process of putting it on that are really, really exciting. Like, Sweet Charity and Wedding Singer both almost killed half of the people involved in them, and yet you look back at them fondly because you managed to get there in the end.
I always think of it very fondly because it introduced me to some of my best friends who I wouldn't have met any other way.
I was thinking about all of the closest friends that I have at the moment, and I was kind of thinking about what they had in common and what kind of connection there was, and I realised that pretty much every single person that I'm really good friends with has been through UMMTA, some sort of show connection.
UMMTA is life.
There's something about it, you just keep getting drawn back.
You come back because people just at UMMTA just know what they're doing, and it's not.
I don't know about that.
Special theatre company because you don't. The sort of relationships that are formed so consistently with this group are something that you can't organise that, or you can't preempt making a theatre company to work in that particular way.
Being involved with UMMTA is kind of like riding a bike that you can't get off because you're riding really fast downhill, which is fun in some really, really bizarre way.
You can also have shows that people learn from. It doesn't matter if it was, you know, the greatest hit or the most popular, or, you know, was the most expensive one we ever put on. As long as people, hang on, as long as people learn something from it, I think that's really important as well.
And the main thing, from my perspective, was always that it was about the experience building. The reason Emma wanted to make it was because it was only the colleges that ever did music theatre, because they have the resources to throw money at shows for their students. And because we weren't college students, we felt like we needed to have something.
The fact that I got to get back into stage management, which is something I was interested in a long time ago, but sort of never gave myself the opportunity to try until I had people around me who I knew would be able to help me through it and teach me things and work out how to do it properly.